And once again, the hometown cable spotlight swings on to Moore's. We've spent a lot of time in Moore's lately. It wasn't too many weeks ago. We were right across the street looking at that wonderful new facility. All the town offices got to meet a lot of shy people. It's amazing. You walk into a place like that, you see just flashes of people ducking into closets. But we got some good mileage out of that program, and we interviewed a lot of great people, including Jack Dragoon. And now we're across the street on whatever day this is, 27th day of March, 2001. And I am not a happy camper, Wayne Dragoon, because there's snowbanks out there, baby. Somebody forgot to tell the weatherman that Gordy Little was coming to town. We can't be doing this time of year.
No, it's unusual in the end of March to have this kind of amount of snow, especially when we're trying to get prepared for our Customer Appreciation Day. Made it a lot harder for us this year.
Wayne was trying to give us a precision weather forecast before we started the camera here today, and I said, it's going to rain this weekend. He said, I don't know. I told somebody this morning when I gassed up the car before I came up here from Plattsburgh, I'm keeping gas in the car. I maybe put another vehicle on the other side of the bridge just in case, because we don't know. I mean, everything's kind of up in the air. I looked at the river as I drove into town today. I didn't see much open water up there.
No. There's a lot of ice on the rivers. Actually, there's a previous jam from before.
Oh, there is?
That last little thaw we had gotten earlier in the winter. And then with this ice built up on top of that, it could probably be interesting in a couple of weeks, but hopefully the snow will melt slow and we won't have any problems.
That's what my fervent prayers are all about this time of year. God, don't get it up to 70 degrees for 2 days and then make it rain like crazy, or we're going to be in deep, you know what, in Moore's and Sable Forks and Morrisonville. And
what about Champlain?
And Champlain. I talked to the mayor the other day during an RSVP bowl-a-thon. Mayor Dan Stewart. He's quite a singer and dancer. I don't know if you know. I walked in to do my hour of MC work. He's doing a little soft shoe, and he's singing Frank Sinatra's song, My Way. So when I grabbed the mic, I said, if you think I would have followed that, baby, there was no way. But we were talking about the trailer parks. And, those trailer parks down in Plattsburgh, and he said if, one more, and they're going to just probably have to close them down. So we are at the mercy of the weather. It seems like every year, and Calvin tells me this is number 12, for Dragoon's Open House and Customer Appreciation Day. Every year we come up here, we talk about the weather. If it's not the ice storm, it's a big snowstorm or spring thaws or whatever. And there's a reason for it, because farmers, the people you deal with every day, Wayne, have to be so much in tune with what the weatherman, he can give them a good year or he can wipe them out, can't he?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it all pertains to the weather. If you don't have the moisture and heat in the summertime, you don't get the crops, and it's a definite factor that we can't control.
I am always amazed every time we record a program in Moore's how many people profess that they were born and brought up here. Everywhere I've gone in the last few weeks since we did that thing with your dad across the road and Nettie Rabideau and Carol Netto and everybody, I have so many people come up to me. I was born and brought up in Moore's, I think in 1950 the population of Moore's must have been 52,000. I don't know why that is. Somebody says, well, and I said, well, what do you think of the new building? I didn't even know it was up there. I said, your hometown, when's the last time you went there? I said to one lady yesterday, 1960 maybe. So, things do change in a little town, but the people who are from Moore's and from Champlain and all these little communities around here are fiercely loyal to their community, and that's why Moore's is still here, and that's why this Dragoons is still in business after how many years now?
Well, since 1953.
It's amazing because building up to us coming here today, Calvin runs some of the old shows that were done from way back. What was the first year? 1989? 1990 with Bob Venn, right? You and Bob Venn were here. And I started coming with you 3 or 4 years ago. And Calvin runs some of the old programs, and you talking about your kids. How many kids do you have?
Two
The
boys.
the big boy and the shorter boy.
Yeah.
We already asked them both why they weren't in school today, and they both left very quickly.
Did they? Yeah, they're a little camera shy.
We were we were talking about one year when Bob Venn asked one of your youngest boy what he got for Christmas, and he had this long face, and he said, "What?"
Oh, he just said, "I didn't get anything for Christmas." And Bob Venn just cracked up, and well, actually, we all cracked up. But
Isn't that good?
it's how times change, and he was yay high, and now he's getting close to as tall as me. But times change.
It's great in a small town when people stay connected with the family business, not only the family farms, and we talk to a lot of farmers when we're up here, but somebody like you who was born and brought up in this business.
Yeah, right from the start. When I was still in school, after school, work here, and during the summer, work here all summer. And then once I got out of school, just started working here.
But the best part of it is, in a small town, a lot of people have to do a lot of things. Your dad, for example, as town supervisor, busy across the road, back and forth and back and forth, and it's a wonder he doesn't lose weight going back and forth across the road. But it's, working with the fire department for so long. You were in the fire department, right?
Yep, I was in the fire department for 15 years.
Yep.
But that's like with a small community. Everybody sticks together, and pretty much everybody knows each other and help each other out. Which, to point my ad for like today, for instance, we've got a lot of volunteer help just from the community of Moores that helps us to put this day on. If it wasn't for that help, it would be almost impossible to put this day on.
Well, I like it when businesses such as Dragoons do you call it a customer appreciation day, just to let them know, hey, we're not, of course we have to make a living, we all do. But we do a lot of things in the course of a year, and one of the things is invite all our friends back in to say thanks a lot for stopping here once in a while.
Well, that's it. That's what this day is for. We used to call it open house, but now it's called Customer Appreciation Day, which just what it says. We appreciate the business from the customer, and we want to stay in business, and that's what this day is for, just for them to come and grab a bite to eat, look around, see the new line of products we have, talk to the different representatives from our different companies that are here today. But we appreciate the customer loyalty, and hope we can continue with it. And we have to keep the customer satisfied, because if not, you're going to lose them. And that's what we want to strive on doing, is to try and please the best we can.
I like to sit down with the farmers that come here and some of the other customer appreciation days at various other businesses, and just find out what's on their mind. They do talk about the weather. They talk about a lot of other things, and farming's not the easiest business in the world to be in these days, and I do admire young people who take over when their parents decide to give up the family farm. And I really don't blame some of the young people who decide that they just can't do it anymore, but we still talk about loyalty. We still have farmers who are in the third, fourth, and fifth generation of farming around here. That amazes me.
No, definitely. That's just goes to show you the willpower. And it's a very tough business to be in. Definitely not an 8-to-5 job, and you have a lot of hard hours. With the milk prices the way they're fluctuating, it's not really the best to pay, but hopefully things will turn around, and for the economy, and get the milk price up where it should be, where bring that business back where it'd be enjoyable for them to make a living.
It's very difficult. Farming has become far more sophisticated than it was years ago. All anybody has to do is take a look at some of this equipment around here. I mean, the size of these tractors. That one I was standing behind that, and I joked to Calvin, boy, that'd make a great lawn tractor.
Oh, yep.
If you had 42 acres of lawn.
Yeah, you don't want to have a pretty hard lawn for that not to sink out of sight. But when you get a chance, on the back of that tractor, you're going to notice a laptop computer.
You gotta be, come on.
The times today that's how you repair that tractor, is you hook a computer on it, and it diagnoses your problem.
Yeah, Yeah, let's take a look at it. We'll check our tape to make sure we actually got something recorded, and we'll be right back. All right, we came around to the back of the tractor. You weren't kidding. It really is a computer hooked up to this thing.
See? There's a cord.
Wire's right there.
Ties up, goes up into the cab and ties in with the computer, and you can program it. You diagnose the...
See, Gordy was wrong. See, Gordy saw that and he thought it was an electric tractor. I said, I don't think so, Gordy.
Is that what you thought, Gordy?
Isn't that amazing?
I guess shows where times have changed a little bit from your Farm All H's and your Farm All M's.
Yeah, look at the size of the tires. This thing's already been in the field, hasn't it?
Yeah, this is a used tractor. It's a rental return. It's got around 600 hours on it, which will make an excellent purchase for somebody because it's going to be considerably cheaper than a new one. But this is the MX270. It's one of the newer model tractors. It's the biggest tractor until you get into articulated models. It's 270 engine horsepower and 240 PTO horsepower. But like we're talking about this computer, this day and age today is everything's computer, everything's electronics on it. And
it's got to be difficult for you can't have a backyard mechanic who come in here and work on this equipment. You got to get trained on this stuff, right?
That's for sure. Matter of fact, I just sent a technician, Raymond Fair, to school in Racine, Wisconsin for a week to get training on this particular model tractor. Without the training and without the tools to train, you can't fix them.
No, it'd be pretty hard to fly by the seat of your pants and repairing something like this. And,
yeah.
You'd have to do it by a computer, but then again, most cars are that way these days.
Yeah, it's it's not just tractors. Actually, the car industry I think was first, and the technology is just increasing year to year.
And much of the equipment, including most of the cars which are produced today, have computer systems on board.
Yep, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And they're great when they work.
And I imagine there's a lot of farm equipment that is computerized now when it determines how to disperse a certain amount of seed and fertilizer and whatever.
The corn planters, they have the monitors that tells you your seed population, your row spacings and all that. And just like your mixer wagons, tells you how many pounds of feed that's going in to the mixer. That's all electronics. But
how big an area do you service here? Now, we've talked about the local farmers, but people come from quite a ways away to stop. I know we've even seen people here from Vermont and Canada during your customer appreciation days.
Yeah, Vermont, we don't go too far into Vermont, but 10 miles like east of us, and then south, down a little ways into Vermont, we have a few customers. We go south, probably 30 miles from here. We go west quite a ways from here because we go well up past Malone. We have quite a few customers. As far as across the border, that's really changed since the exchange rate. That our clientele's really dropped off from across the border for that reason.
Yep. Are you personally on the road a lot, or do most of the customers come to you, Wayne?
Personally, myself, I'm not on the road too much. But we've got a parts van that is on the road, which will be going back on the road in April, and he's distributing parts out there and getting leads on if customers need to see us, or need be that we go out there. But we're going to be in the future going out more to the farmer versus the farmer coming here, because that's another change in time.
I was just thinking when I looked at this huge tractor, what the heck would you do if you had to replace a wheel or a tire on it? Would you have to go and do it on the guy's farm? Or?
Well, sometimes you do. Sometimes you got to haul it in. It just depends.
Wow. It doesn't look like it would get stuck in anything. This is pretty big. You'd have a hard time to bury this tractor, wouldn't you?
You'd have a hard time, but
you'd also have a hard time getting it out if you did bury it. I guarantee you that.
If it did go down, you want something a little bit bigger.
Oh, but there's always something a little bit bigger, isn't there?
For sure, yeah. Like on this particular unit, you can see the rubber it's a deep lug tire, which is designed to work in the mud. But if that tire does start spinning and go down, it doesn't take long.
Doesn't take long to dig a hole. Huh?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
And you wake up in a foreign country with no problem at all if you went down far enough. Gee, and that speaks back to the weather. We're at the mercy of this weather, man. I don't know how early do farmers like to get out on their fields.
Well, see, years ago we used to have our customer appreciation day in April, the first or second week in April. But at times it kind of conflicted with the farmers in the fields. So the last quite a few years we've pushed it back to the last week of March, so we pretty much don't have to worry about that. But years past, it's the first week of April. They're starting to do some light work in the fields, and 1st of May is when it really gets started heavy. But this year, with all the snow, it's chances are it's going to put them back a little bit, unless we get a lot better spring than we've had so far.
In some ways, and we've talked to a few farmers recently, in some ways snow cover is good, and in some ways it's not so good at this time of year.
Right. It's definitely a great snow cover for when you get less winter kill on the crops, which is a very expensive part for the farmer. If they get winter kill where they have to reseed, then I guess definitely expensive. But like this year, there was a lot of snow cover, and it stayed and there's not a lot of frost in the ground. So with all this water, snow right now, but when it turns to water, I don't know how much the ground's going to suck up. The ground can only take so much water, and then it's going to definitely have to run off.
I don't know how deep the frost was this year. I thought I heard somebody say 30-some inches, but I really don't know what the ground is like out there right now.
Well, right now there's very little frost, as far as especially when we're trying to clean up the snow around here. Before it warmed up on a bare spot, there was close to 4 foot. But with the snow cover, there was very little because it stayed covered with snow.
There's so many factors involved. All we can do is say a prayer for the poor farmers every year. We like to meet them when they come in here during your customer appreciation days, and we don't mind to sit around the table and enjoy a little pancakes.
No, that's it. Like this day for the farmers, a lot of them get together with the other farmers in the area, and they talk over different ideas, and it's a good get together.
Every year there's something new to talk about, because it seems like up here there's some new weather disaster every year. It's either an awfully dry summer or an awfully snowy winter or something. I don't know how you win in the ball game. That's why I said I don't know how these farmers stay in business every year, because they're always fighting against something.
Right. It's definitely tough, but it's not only this area. You look in the weather station and on the news, these different places getting tornadoes, and just like this last big storm we got. Like Boston, they got 7 inches of rain. One spot in Maine, 7 inches. I mean, we got 7 inches of rain back in November of '96. We lost bridges and roads, and so it's not only here. There's other places that are.
That's a year we don't want to revisit too many times, except on Calvin's video, because we got a double whammy that year.
Yeah, definitely. November '96 and January '98 are years to remember for sure.
A business like this has to change through the times. Right now, we're not sure what our economy and our nation is doing. Those people who have a few stocks run the gamut from absolute panic to euphoria when it goes up 100 points every day. Farmers, especially in this area, always used to think they were a little bit insulated from the national economy. We were always felt as though we were at least a few months behind. But now things happen so quickly that, it's easy to be affected by the national economy when you're a farmer, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. It reflects on them. All this, foreign trade and the feed all out there. It definitely impacts them.
So this business has definitely changed in its scope and what it does over the years. Just for example, since you got in it as a young boy.
Oh, definitely. Unfortunately, a lot of the smaller farms are going out of business, and the bigger farms, they're getting bigger. I mean, it's nice to have the big farms, don't get me wrong, but it's nice to have the family farm too, and it's getting very hard for the the smaller family farm to stay in business. It's very tough.
So what? And now we know you sell equipment. We can see it all around us. What else do you do? What else kinds of things do you sell besides the tractors, for example?
Oh, we sell tractors, all the implements that go behind tractors, for tillage tools, hay tools. We sell skid steers.
What?
Skid steer.
What the heck is that?
It's a unit just on the other side.
Okay. I have no idea what that might be.
Well, we'll show you that after. We sell lawn and garden, a large lawn and garden business with Cub Cadet and Husqvarna, all different lawn tools.
Chainsaws, I remember.
Chainsaws. That pretty much started from the ice storm on in the chainsaw business.
Even saw a little. I thought I saw a little motorbike outside with training wheels on it. What was that all about?
That's Gary's business.
Oh, it is?
Pretty much taking anything on trade, I guess.
So what farmer came up on that? Is that Wayne? He had to have training wheels to get down here today?
Yeah, and then we sell grills, Holland grills, and we're a lot of
I
different.
remember your dad showing us those. They were cooking something really good on there last year.
They got the grill fired up right now,
Oh,
too.
they do?
Yeah.
I'll be going around to taste and smell. I'll do the taste test a little later on in our program.
Sure. Before I forget, I'd like to, thank Calvin and Gordy, and I'd like to tell the viewers out there, the hometown cable is a very, very vital part of this North Country, and we really appreciate the time and effort that they put into this, and I just hope that everybody, appreciates it and helps sponsor this program, because, like I say, without you, we wouldn't be able to look back at our previous open houses or customer appreciation days and this one. But, I'd just like to, thank you for, all the time and effort you both put in. And also, I'd like to, thank all the customers for showing up today and helping us out, and for all the employees, which was a big part this year because of all the snow that was in the area. We had quite a few problems to plan around that because we had no room for a lot of stuff out there where we normally put a lot of equipment together earlier in the winter, but this year with all the snow cover and our stuff buried, we had to wait to the last, right to the end, and that kind of put us behind, but the guys pulled through and helped us out a lot there. And I'd just like to, just thank everybody and all the volunteers that helped out today.
It's a lot of volunteer service. Calvin and I have said it many times. We've made a commitment, Calvin long before me, from the early 1980s to this community. But it pleases us to be able to spotlight businesses like yours and communities like yours. They exist all over the North Country, and without the atmosphere that exists in communities like this, our nation would be in pretty tough shape. And I've said it time and time again, I wish we could make copies of these tapes and show them in some of the metropolitan areas where people knock each other down in the grocery line and have no consideration for their neighbors. We have to coexist. I mean, you have to coexist with the other businesses that sell some of the same kinds of things you do in the area, but you have to coexist with all these farmers, and people have to help each other. Otherwise, a community such as Moore's would never be a great place to live. It'd be a ghost town like so many other ghost towns.
No, definitely. We have to work with other competitive dealers, and exactly. It's this small community. Things are a lot different than your big cities, but we like it this way.
Books are written about that pioneer spirit, and we talk a lot about history on this program, and we like to mention the names of our forefathers and ancestors who came here and eked out a living. But that pioneer spirit is alive and well now. We talk about these weather disasters, and everything is just a little bit more complicated than it used to be, and the average farmer still has to get up early in the morning and go to bed at night. Late, doesn't he? Huh?
Very long hours, that's for sure. They get up before sunrise and go a long time at night. definitely, like I said before, it's not an 8 to 5 job. It's something you've got to enjoy. And
We said to a farmer a few weeks ago, "Where are you going on vacation?" And he laughed for about 5 minutes. I said, "Why are you laughing?" He said, "That was my vacation right there. Coming here today, enjoying these pancakes and talking to my neighbors." It's those of us who work a scheduled 35-hour week for somebody else that makes out the paycheck don't quite know what it's like for farmers who have to work 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
that's right, exactly. It's 7 days a week. The cows have to be taken care of 7 days a week.
So I guess along with everything else we plan to do today, it's a salute to the North Country farmer, and long may they survive and thrive. Sometimes I don't know how, but we're going to do our best to help them out. Wayne, thanks for inviting us up here. We haven't finished our program. We're going to talk to lots of people, but thanks for doing your job every year.
Thank you. Yeah. Do you have any tape left, Calvin?
Well, we're going to maybe walk out there and ask your littlest kid what he got for Christmas last year.
That'll be good.
See you
Thank
later.
you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I could hear kids in the background. I know the farmers have bring their families over here today for the customer appreciation days. Paul Hummel, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Gordy?
Doing fine and dandy. People mention names of equipment and names of procedures, and I have no idea what they're talking about because I haven't been on farms to work in many, many years. What the heck is this all about, this deep tilling?
Well, basically what the deep till is about is if you go back in time, people were using subsoilers, okay, and going down as deep as they can. The reason was they had a compaction problem, okay? In other words, the soil particles tended to get hard, and if you can see down here in this particular area, that's extremely hard to penetrate. So
I thought it was a rock when I first looked at it. Look at that.
yeah, and if you try to stick a knife or something in there, you get quite a bit of a resistance. Okay, what that means is when the plant root starts to grow, okay, it comes down to this particular area right here, and it can't go through that, okay? So it starts to go sideways, and it uses a lot of energy, okay? That energy is taken away from the fruiting. The obvious result of that is the yields decrease. So the yield till system that we have with Case DMI here addresses 4 areas, and the whole idea is to try to manage what you can manage. Obviously, as we talked last fall, you can't manage the weather, okay?
I guess not.
And especially this winter. Sort of like the old days with the snow accumulation. Anyway, we address 4 things that we can manage as far as the yield till system. The first thing is residue management, which our machines can handle as far as the mix of residue on top, whether it's corn, bean, or whatever. The next thing is soil tilth. The most important part of soil tilth is because that makes the environment for the roots to grow. And as we were looking at before, to break that compaction layer up gives that a healthier environment for that root to grow. The third part of the yield till system, which we can management, is the proper use and placement of fertilizer. We recommend that you try to put that in the root zone instead of spreading it all over the top, which is more efficient. The roots can get at it easier and takes less energy for them. The final thing is seed bed preparation, which you usually do in the spring just before planting. And as such, that makes a proper place for the seed to germinate. The machines that do that kind of work are field cultivators, rolling baskets, crumbler type machines. And as such, when that's all completed, hopefully you'll see an increase in your yields.
Show me some of these other pictures here. Now you're getting down here quite a ways when you call deep tilling. You're not kidding, are you?
Well, actually, deep tilling, we were down in the field just south of here last fall. The bottom of the compaction layer was about 14 inches, and
wow.
You can see right there, okay? So the top of it was about 8.5 to 9 inches. So you had about a 4 or 5 inch compaction layer, okay? Really solid the destruction or rearrangement of those soil particles, we set that so that it runs just a little bit below as far as the tip of the point, and you run the wings in it. And what that does, it rolls and twists and separates all those and stands them up. Now you've got better air and water percolation up and down through that area.
How long has this deep till idea been around? Is that relatively new, or?
I would say deep tillage has been around for a long time. You go way back in time to some of the deep, really long 20, 24, 26-inch subsoiler type machines. That's been around for a long time. The approach here is to do it as efficiently as you can, and as such, we don't recommend that you go down 20, 24 inches. Just to the bottom of that layer and just break the layer up. Because once you get underneath that, the soil is fairly porous, and you don't really need to address that. The other thing that happens, the deeper you go, the more horsepower it takes, the more acidic the soil is you're bringing up. And with the cost of fuel today, you really don't need to be using that extra horsepower when it's not necessary.
Is this something you have to convince farmers about, or do they already know about it, most farmers?
I think most farmers are aware that they have a compaction layer. I mean, you can look at your yields, you can watch them year over year and see some decreases. You can see wet spots in your field that don't go away even though you may have tiled or whatever. Yeah, I believe they definitely know about it, and more with the heavier equipment that we're using today, the big spreaders in the dairy area, the big combines, the big tractors, all contribute to building and increasing that compaction layer. Yeah, they definitely know about it.
Do the small farmers do it too, or just the big farmers?
The small farmers obviously have the same problem, okay, and we make machines that can fit all horsepower classes, so anywhere from 100 up to 500 horsepower.
Well, let's hope we don't need too much horsepower to get through those fields this spring. I wish that snow would go away. We're talking on the 27th day of March already, and there's snowbanks along the road. In previous years, during the customer appreciation days here up in Moores, there have been traffic parked all the way along the way. I don't know if you could park along the road today without putting one wheel in a snowbank. So we can hope the good Lord above makes it a little bit easier on the farmers this spring, Paul, you know?
I would hope so. Somebody was saying this morning, was that 2 or 3 years ago when Dragoons had their open house? It was 80 degrees in the morning. Yeah. In the afternoon it was like 32, just like that.
I remember that very well. Very warm morning and a very cool day in the afternoon. I swear there was a chill factor here of about maybe 5 or 10 above when we pulled in this morning. Yeah. You get a brisk wind along with temperatures maybe 26, 27 degrees when we got here before 10, and you're talking cool.
Yep.
You don't feel like going out in the field in that weather, that's for sure.
Absolutely not. And I appreciate you guys taking the time here and talking about the yield till system. And
we find it very interesting. I get an education every time we turn the camera on. It's really great when you recognize you're a dummy from the start. That way, I should get college credits for learning about deep till now. Now I can make believe I really know something. Paul, thanks for coming back again, and good luck in everything you do.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
These people keep throwing these terms at me. Somebody just said skid steer, and I thought it was a steer that was belligerent and wouldn't go to the barn. I had no idea what you're talking about. George Rivers, how are you, buddy?
I'm just fine, thank you.
What? Aren't you out of your neighborhood over here?
No. I come over to see our machine.
Yeah, you're the one that can tell me what a skid steer is. Now it looks fairly familiar, but what is it supposed to do?
Anything you want it to do.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, why a skid steer?
Well, we bought this. The village bought this because we run attachments. Like ditch diggers, hydraulic hammers, whatever, and that's why we need this machine for the village. The one we had was a little bit too small, wouldn't run the attachment. We have a mower. You know what a mower is? A mower to push pipes underneath the road. Well, it all runs off this machine.
No, it produces
hydraulic power.
It's hydraulic. Those are hydraulic connections. That's what they look like.
Yep, and that's what we do. And of course, you can put different attachments on here. You got a bucket. This is, you move dirt around with it, but you also put forks. You can also, blower if you wanted to on there, I guess. Sweeper. We use them for sweepers. It's a very versatile piece of equipment.
I'm guessing they call it a skid steer because it doesn't have a steering wheel, and you pull You use the levers that you see, one on each side there, to steer the thing.
Absolutely, and you can turn it on a dime,
Can you really? Right around?
right around.
When you say versatile, you mean what you say, because it's not that huge a piece of equipment, but it does a lot of different things.
Oh, yeah.
Probably has plenty of power to do the job.
Well, that's why we traded ours to upgrade, because the other had too small of a hydraulic pump, and we really needed something bigger because, as you know, we're putting the whole village underground, and this does about 90% of the work, the digging, or not the actual backhoe to work, but putting the dirt back, the trench digging that goes to the houses is all done by this piece of machine. The pipes that we push across the roads will be done by this piece of machine.
I think maybe yes, a lot of our viewers aren't aware of that project. Tell me a little bit about it. That's kind of an ambitious thing you're doing over there in Rouse's Point.
We're hoping by 2008 that the whole village will be totally underground. We're about 1/3 done.
Are you really?
Yeah, we're about 1/3 done, and the ice storm, I guess, woke our eyes up and said, "Hey, it works."
It woke a lot of eyes up, didn't it?
It works. So we're very pleased with it. I think the people are pleased. It certainly is very aesthetically beautiful.
That's a word I was going to use. I didn't know that was a George Rivers word. I'm proud of you. It is aesthetically beautiful, and in a lot of historic areas, they don't want lines and things hanging around. And yes, our little communities are historic. We talk about the history here in Moores, but it's true in Champlain, Rouse's Point, all over the North Country. And the more stuff you can get underground, the better off you're going to be.
Oh yeah. We're very pleased with this project. We're very excited to get it done. Of course, we are a municipal power. We own our own power company, which is certainly an advantage to live in Rouse's Point.
Boy, in this day and age, huh? We spend a lot of time talking about the MLD in Plattsburgh, and which is celebrating an anniversary. I can't remember how, like 65 years or something, a long time.
We've been a municipal power since the early 1900s, like
No
1908, something like that. No, it's certainly a distinct advantage to us.
Yeah, you're just a boy, all right.
Yeah, it's just a way. Thank you, Calvin. I appreciate that comment.
Is there anything in the North Country that you haven't had your hands involved in over the years? You've been involved in so many things. George and I go way back. We're talking about the fire service, and we've spent a lot of time on this program, and of course I did on the radio for many years, promoting the volunteer fire departments in the North Country. This is a good opportunity today to thank all the people who volunteered, including you, with fire service over the years.
Well, I still haven't given that up.
No, I know you haven't.
No, I've been a deputy coordinator for the county. This is my 31st year.
Is it really?
And
It seems like only yesterday.
you're right, it does. I've seen a lot of changes, boy, over the years. Some for the good, some not for the good.
But our advanced 911 system works pretty darn well. Other people look at us, Essex County, they say, boy, we wish we could have done it when you guys did it.
Not only Essex County, I bet I was involved with that. Of course, Jim King, we were, I think, the big pusher for it with the county. The fire service was. We've had counties from all over the state come up and say, this is a model. This is probably one of the nicest systems in the state.
It really is.
Yep. Of course, when we went to the 800 megahertz trunking system along with the 911 all in one shot, it was amazing. The radio system is absolutely fantastic.
With new equipment going in all the time, and I can vouch for that because having been a radio newsman for so many decades, I was on the cutting edge when scanners were first invented. I have the first one I ever bought, and it still works. Got 4 crystals in it.
Oh my God! And now we don't even use crystals. It's all little prom.
And for the benefit of those people who are not initiated, that 800 megahertz gave us an opportunity for fire control to finally hear the trucks in Moores. I mean, there were some tenuous times when you go over the hill on the fire and all of a sudden you couldn't talk to the truck anymore.
That's for sure. You could sometimes even talk out of the building. And then we were only operating on one frequency. Yeah. Now we're talking, I believe 6 in the trunking and 2 direct, and we're trying to get some more in. Jim is working very hard to do that. The ice storm, if we had not had that system, this county would have been really dead in woods as far as emergency services.
Man, we didn't have telephones. We didn't have a lot of things going, and not to mention power.
Our normal traffic on a radio system per day, and you got to understand that this system now is not just limited to fire. The Village of Rouse's Point Public Works is on there. Champlain Public Works is on there. County Highway is on there. Town Highway is on there. Rouse's Point Police Department's on there. They're all using the same frequencies. And during the ice storm, like I say, normal traffic probably for a day is 3,000 or 4,000 calls. I don't know exactly. In a 24-hour period, during that ice storm, 43,000 calls. 43,000 transmission
43,000 calls.
in a 24-hour period.
Well, I don't have to convince you, and you don't have to convince me that communications is the name of the game. And in order for a system like our Clinton County fire system, volunteer fire system, to operate efficiently, you got to be able to talk to each other. And boy, that 800 megahertz and the new radios and the wonderful new location they have out there on the former new base, isn't that a wonderful place that they got out there?
Oh, yeah. It's ideal. I mean, we've got classrooms now, what we never had.
Theaters, classrooms, meeting rooms.
If people were to go in the old control down on Oak Street there where we were down there during the ice storm, it was like horror stories. And you go out there now we got an excellent command center. We can do things in a better, relaxed atmosphere, secure atmosphere.
We're fortunate to have a good group of dispatchers.
We got highly trained dispatchers, very highly trained. They can do emergency medical dispatching, which is, and they've been credited with a couple of life savings. And they certainly have proved that they're weight in gold as far as dispatching is concerned.
And every now and again we'll hear a promotional announcement on radio or television or see an ad in the paper for more volunteer firemen. Just to become a volunteer fireman isn't just grabbing your boots in your bunker and jumping on a truck these days.
Not easy anymore.
Oh man, it's like becoming a mechanic for one of these big tractors here. You gotta know your stuff, and there's a lot to learn to become a fireman.
And there is now. The public demands it, and it's sad that we can't get people to volunteer. People do not want to give up that time anymore. They're more family oriented, I believe. Not that I wasn't or anybody else wasn't.
Yeah, but your whole family was involved. Their little kids are involved. The women are involved.
You say involved. My son, he's a career firefighter downstate. He had to get it from somewhere.
Where is he?
Yeah, the Poughkeepsie area.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Different ball game down there, too, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. It's a different thing than we're used to. The only thing I could say, is that I wish more people would come out and volunteer for the service because, the emergency medical part of it, they really need some people that want to do that. That's a tough grind. Those people go through a lot of training, have to spend a lot of time, and we can't afford to have paid service up here.
Oh, goodness, no, never.
No way. And just hoping that maybe somebody sees us. Maybe if we can get one or two in each department, I would be very thankful.
Well, I always tell Calvin, I bring my portable soapbox with me everywhere we go. And every opportunity I have of getting on television and doing this little hometown cable production, I promote good things. We started off this very program with Wayne talking about the volunteer spirit, how these little communities like yours and this community get together, not only when times are tough, but all the time. Because it takes a lot of volunteer effort and extra effort and people who don't get a salary for working in these things to hold these towns together. The people who run for town office, for example, that's another thing to promote. Somebody approaches you and says, you want to run for a town office? Think about it, because it's another way to give back to the community that's done so much for you, and you're the perfect example of that, George.
Well, I was very proud this year at Rouse's Point in the election. We had 3 good qualified candidates to run. I think that we got some young people, which really pleases me. I hope they give the effort that I think they're going to do, and I think that we'll be better off for it. We really need to get our young folks involved. They can't take the attitude of, what's in it for me? You just can't do that because you come down to it, there's really nothing in it for you except the self-satisfaction that you've done something for your community.
You know, that's what Calvin and I talk about that all the time, because this little program called Our Little Corner and all the other things Calvin does and has done for athletes and athletic programs in the North Country, these are labors of love. But it makes that quality of life that we talk so much about better for all of us when we do give back.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know. I've been 45 years in the fire department. Next year, 45 years.
45.
And I'm not sorry. There are times I've regretted that I have done things. I've given up a lot of good dinners for calls. And the self-satisfaction that you've done a good job is you don't worry about that dinner.
Yeah, and that's something we must talk about with our kids, because they tend, I hate to say the word selfish, but kids today have so much compared to when you and I were young that they do tend to be selfish. A couple of weeks ago, we did a program with the youngsters from Seton Catholic Central who just came back from Nicaragua. All of a sudden, selfish is not a word in their vocabulary anymore.
See what the rest of the world's like.
Dear goodness, but I think it's important that we preach to our kids about that. You better start giving back to your community. Otherwise, all of a sudden, when you need help, the help may not be there.
That's for sure. I really feel bad to see the service go the way it has. I realize that the demands on the service are high. The laws have changed to require you to do more and more and more. I don't know where it's going to end. I think back when I joined the fire department in Ross's Point, and Ross's Point was one of the first communities in Clinton County to run an ambulance.
Was it really?
Yeah. City of Plattsburgh went online first, and we were next. Wow. And said that I remember when they bought their first ambulance, an old 41 Buick, and that ambulance went from Ross's Point to Dannemora. When I joined the department, we bought a 52 Buick, and we just kept going and going. But I remember, in the calls, and first aid was the only thing you needed. And now today they're looking at.
You almost got to be a doctor now to know about how to administer medicines, and oh my goodness, advanced EMT is.
There's nothing wrong with that if you want to do it, but I think that the public has got to start to realize that these people are getting burnout.
Oh yeah, and they do. That's a very good point.
And think twice before you say, "Well, I got a child with a cut finger. Why do I need an ambulance?" Let's think twice, and try to do something for ourselves once in a while.
I think we ought to go into that fire control again and just talk to some of the people about the off-the-wall calls. They get people who dial 911 and say, "Can you tell me the correct time?"
Oh yes.
These guys just shake their head. What some of these people may not realize when you let your kids use the phone indiscriminately, is we got a screen down there that tells us right where that phone call is coming from.
Absolutely.
We know an awful lot about you and your location and your family before you ever hang up. So,
and even after you hang up, they can keep your line tied up.
Oh, sure.
Yep.
But it's great. Yeah, they are well trained. Our hats off to dispatchers or communications experts, as we call them now.
Call them. They're certainly a godsend to our county.
And to Jim King for all his many years of support. We knew Jim when he was just a fireman, just like you were back in the old days, and he decided to make that commitment, which is no small commitment.
Oh no!
Because when you do a job like that, you can be working at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you can go without sleep for 2 days, no problem at all, just to get the job done. I've watched them in operation, and I'm proud of volunteer firemen, and I'm glad to have this opportunity to talk to you about things that are going on. What else is new in Rouse's Point?
Oh, well, we're going to put up a new water tank, 2 million gallons.
Come on, really?
Yeah, that's we're going to hopefully let the contract in April to start. And improvements to the water sewer system. We've got about a $2 million improvement there, and another $2 million in electric. We're going to have a very busy year.
I don't know what kind of a tax base you have up there, but I hope there's enough money to pay for all that stuff.
You got to understand that water and sewer and electric are separate funds. They don't come out of tax dollars. We may see an increase in water, but I think sewer is going to be fine. Hopefully electric will be fine. These are things that we're not doing by choice. They have to be done, and it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, I love to talk about municipal power because it's what a difference. Those people on Long Island, I have relatives who live there who have to pay the Long Island Lighting Company and the amount of money that they lay out. And sometimes our people have the gall to complain about the prices per kilowatt hour of electricity in Rouse's Point. Boy, we should just show them what that number of kilowatt hours would cost them down in the metropolitan area.
Deregulation, of course, everybody and their brother has heard about deregulation. Well, my conception of deregulation is not going to be good for the consumer. The bottom line is the consumer is going to pay. And I got an awful argument with, well, not an argument, I made some statements to the chairman of the Public Service Commission down at the Conference of Mayors. And I know I'm right. I should say it that way, but you just have to look at the track record. What happened with cable? You know, the deregulation is going to make it cheaper. Did it? I don't think so. Telephone, they deregulated that. Look at the telemarketing on telephones. You know, that didn't happen. Deregulation of freight. Look at what happened to this area. There's about 600 jobs that were lost. Trucking companies were not.
We haven't talked about before, but you are absolutely. We still got people moaning about that.
Okay, deregulation of airline. How come that you pay the highest airline rates in the state of New York? It's supposed to be deregulated. You know, I didn't get any answers. And I said, you sit there and tell me that deregulation of power is going to be good? I said, lady, you don't have a very good track record.
And you know, for those of our viewing audience out there who don't know George Rivers, here's a man that has no trouble expressing his opinion when he knows he's right. But that's the only way you can get it done, right, George?
Yeah, you're right. I went up to Senator Schumer and I said I wanted to know how his feelings was on Bill 1168, which was the fire bill. You know, I have some real heartburn with that. Someday we'll talk about it. But no, I have heartburn with our country about this. But here and there. But anyway, he said, well, haven't you heard I supported it? He said 2 weeks ago. I said, well, geez, great. I'm glad to hear that. I really appreciate it. But I wrote you a letter about a year ago on this, and I said never got an answer. 3 weeks later, I got a nice letter from him. And I have to, you know, take my hat off to him. I didn't expect it. But he says, you're absolutely right. You did write me a letter, and he says, this is unacceptable.
See, we can't let these people, politicians or anybody in any other profession, forget about the little guy.
Oh, no.
So many people don't answer their telephone calls these days, and don't answer letters that are written to them.
Email's getting worse.
Oh, that's another ball game. Talk about a whole different topic. George, thanks so much for being with us today. We didn't mean to put you on the spot, but really, we didn't mind at all. Have a great day, and good luck over there in Rouse's Point. We'll wave at you on the way by every day.
All right, thank you. Yep.
We're getting closer to the pancakes, so I'm getting revved up here, Gerald. What do you think? Did you have yours already?
No, not yet. I'm waiting.
I don't know. When I get close to the smell, it's pretty hard to work and carry this microphone.
Right.
That's why I don't try to take a fork and a microphone at the same time. I probably take a bite out of the end of this thing.
Yeah.
What's your last name, Gerald?
LaFountain.
Gerald, it's always fun to come up here.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I just looked out the window a couple of minutes ago, and I didn't see what I wanted to see. I saw little snowflakes going by.
Geez, I guess so. I live in Altona. We got a lot more snow up in Altona than what they have here.
Do you really? Everybody's telling us they got more snow than what they have here.
Yeah, a lot more. A lot more.
It hasn't been
Been a good March. Hasn't been a good March.
at all. I feel sorry. You're not a farmer, though, are you?
No, I'm retired. No, I'm retired. I've been retired for 9 years.
Have you really? Young guy like you?
When I was a kid, my dad used to farm it, you know. We had a big farm back when I was a kid, back in, we quit farming back in 1960. We had 85 cows then. That was a big farm back then.
Yeah. Now we're talking about guys with 900 and some cows.
Yeah, right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, 35, 45 was a pretty good sized farm.
Yeah. But I went roofing, and I worked for a roofing company for 35 years.
Did you really?
Montana Lockwood. I don't know if you heard of it.
Yeah. Never fell off a roof.
Nope, never have.
Did you really?
No.
In all those years?
No.
Sure-footed Gerald, huh?
Yeah, right. I was lucky, you know. I worked
It's a job I can't understand how anybody would want to do that. And Calvin might agree. He doesn't feel like climbing on roofs either.
I did a lot of duct work too. You know, the later years, last 4 or 5 years I worked, I had it easier. I did a lot of duct work, so it was good. I mean, I had
For
it.
heating systems, you mean?
Oh yeah, all over. We did schools and anything. They were a big outfit. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of roofing, a lot of duct work. Good outfit to work for too. I worked there many years.
Well, we kind of like your town of Altona too up there. We spent a little time at the Flat Rock region up there. A lot of our viewers don't even know what the Flat Rock is, and we went up with a couple of college professors and looked at Calvin for years talked to me about this $1 million dam that was up there, and he whet my appetite till one day we finally got up there and it blew me away.
Oh yes,
That's quite an area.
Oh yeah, it is. I live right by the dam and all, right in the village there, Feinberg Park. You know the park is?
Sure.
Well, Kelvin knows where I live. Yeah.
Mr. Miner had a lot to do with that one
Yeah.
too, didn't he?
Yeah. I work part time in the summertime. Well, I work in the summertime in the park. You know, I worked there since I retired. I've been working in there.
I've had a few picnics up there in my day. I walked up back in there all around that area, and I know the Boy Scouts have their camporees and their camp outs up there, and that's a nice spot up there.
It sure is. They built a new pavilion up there this past summer. Makes it nice, you know, for people that goes on picnics, you know, weekends. And
I don't know how many campsites they've got up there.
58.
Do they really? I didn't think they had that.
Oh yeah, 58. Yeah. Yeah, 50.
It's a good spot. People, especially if you haven't been there for a while, you just. I just want to see all the snow gone. I want to see 75 degrees. Then I'll put my hot dogs in the trunk.
Last year, I started working in the middle of April there last year, and I raking. But this year, I want to be able to.
We'll be raking something besides leaves and grass, baby.
Snow.
It'll take a little while. They tell us this is what our normal winters used to be like. I don't know. We're just about this.
Winters like this when I was a kid.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
They tell us now that we've already broken the March record for snow, and we're the third deepest snowfall for the season in history for this area.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
no.
think we may have the old days back, whether we liked them or not.
Yeah, right. I hope we have a good spring.
I don't know. We're already well into spring, and with snow flurries outside the window.
We're supposed to get rain this weekend too, and it's gonna make it worse, you know.
Third person who keeps talking about rain for this weekend. We don't want that stuff, Jerry.
No, I guess not.
We're bound to get a little rain, but
Yeah, it's supposed to be 50 degrees, they say. So the paper says this morning there.
yeah, we'll just kind of have to see. Huh?
Yeah.
So you couldn't stay away from Dragoons today to see who was going to be here having fun.
They
You
got,
had to get up here, didn't you?
They got a good meal here, you know. And I came before with my son-in-law. He lives right here, and I enjoy coming here.
It's nice to meet your friends. They have a couple of these at different businesses over the year, and I try not to miss too many pancake breakfasts and, at our churches and our fire stations, and
Yeah. I went to one Sunday to St. Mary's in Champlain. Yeah,
Oh, I heard they had one.
yeah, they had nice, they had a good one.
I was down our way. I didn't make it up to St. Mary's, but I do make quite a few.
Yeah,
I was brought up on church suppers and strawberry festivals and box lunches and all those things that we used to do back in the old days. They were a lot of fun.
Calvin must have had a few suppers and pancake breakfasts and everything. Calvin, you must have.
We didn't get these bellies by pushing away from the table. I can promise you that.
Yeah, right.
I can remember even now, my mother's been dead for years, saying, eat. And if you don't eat everything on your plate, she must have been talking to my brother because I never left anything on my plate, except for spinach, which I didn't like very much as a kid, and I love it now. Isn't that weird?
Yep. I like spinach. I eat a lot for a small guy too. Of course, when you're farming, I worked roofing, and for all these years, you work hard and you
Burn the calories.
yep, you got to eat.
Got to replace. You got to get that fuel back in there. Problem in my case, after I stopped working hard, I still pounding the calories away.
Yeah.
Never mind. We never know what tomorrow's going to bring, so have a good pancake meal today. That's what I always say.
That's what I'm gonna Do. I haven't had any yet, but
We'll be sitting in there. Just don't sit to my left side because I move that fork with my left hand.
are you left-handed? I am too.
Are you?
Yes.
We'll be all right then. Gerald, thanks for stopping and saying hello. Good luck in Altona. Keep smiling.
Oh yes.
See you later.
Okay.
Yeah, we said we're going to corner the kids, and we got them back here next to the raffle box. The young Dragoon kids, whose pictures you may have been seeing on television over the last few weeks from the time they were about this high or this high, huh? What's your name?
Mark,
Mark. How's bowling?
pretty good.
Calvin told me you were a bowling star. You've been bowling a long time?
No, I just started in the fall.
How do you get so good so fast?
A lot of practice.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what team do you bowl for?
PHS,
PHS. And you live here? Where do you live?
Plattsburgh.
Oh, you live in Plattsburgh. All right, I got that figured out now. Make the trip back and forth. Let me see. Is your coach Sandy?
Yeah.
How would I know that? She's a pretty neat lady. I think she's a pretty special lady. She always turns out a good bowling team. But how did you get involved in bowling? Why do that?
My dad. I don't know. I was just bowling one day and I liked it.
So you've got good real fast, huh? And how far did your team go?
We went to States. In Long Island.
Is that fun?
Yeah.
Had you ever been there before?
No, I've never been there.
Where did you go in Long Island?
Seville.
Okay, you had a good time? Spent it, what, a couple days?
Yeah. We spent the night down there.
Came back. That's good. Now, what's your best game or your best series so far?
I have a 634 and a 246 game.
You've got to be kidding. If I ever got a 146, I'd celebrate for 3 days. No, that's wonderful. Well, to get that good, how many games a week would you bowl?
A lot.
Really? Like more than 2 days or every day or what?
I go on the weekends a lot.
Do you?
Yeah.
You don't have too many bowling alleys. Do you go right at North Bowl all the time or where?
Either North Bowl or Bowl Mart.
That's good. Well, I'm glad you like the sport. It is a good sport. We don't talk about it nearly so much, although Calvin's had a little footage about. Did you get their bowling team this year? Did you? Oh. I had a nephew, Darren, who was a pretty good bowler, I remember. Darren Dashnaw a few years ago. Well, congratulations to you. Did you eat any food up here today? Or
Yeah.
you did?
Yeah, the pancake, sausage, and the pork out front.
How many pancakes did you have?
Just 2 so far.
Just 2 so far? Well, then I'll try to do at least that good, all right?
All right.
And what's your name?
Dan.
All right. Your father was saying one time, were you the one that said you didn't get anything for Christmas? Is that you?
Yeah, that's true. I still don't get nothing.
Oh, you don't get any respect at all, right?
No.
Respect at all. Where do you go to school?
PHS.
What grade are you in?
I'm in 8th.
8th grade. Oh, you'll be moving up to the big school next year?
Yep.
Looking forward to that?
Yes.
That's great. Bowling? You don't bowl?
I don't bowl on a team. Sometimes, yeah, I bowl.
I don't know if they do bowling in 8th grade, do they, or do they?
Well, I could have bowled, but I didn't want to.
Didn't feel like it this year?
I played basketball.
Did you? How's that? You like that?
Yeah, it's fun.
Did you win any games?
Yeah, we lost 2 or 3 games.
It's just fun. Like we say, it's fun to play the game, right?
Yep, that's all that counts.
We're not going to ask you why you guys didn't go to school today, but boy, it has something to do with a terrible headache. I don't know.
It's a Dragoon's holiday.
Oh, it is. Did I see that on my Easter calendar? My special Catholic calendar? It is?
Yeah, it's on my calendar.
Right next to that big red tractor, right?
Yep.
You got one of those tractor calendars. And who are you? You're a cousin, right?
Yeah, Robbie.
Robbie. He's almost catching you, you know. How tall are you?
About 5'5".
How many years difference between you two?
Almost 2.
You think you'll catch him?
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
be 6'4". I'll be dunking the ball.
Hey, listen, always have high goals. That's what 6'4", dunking the ball. I was at Clinton Community College a couple of weeks ago for Clinton Cup Challenge, walking to raise a little money for the athletic program. And I saw a guy your size who was shooting baskets, and he was hanging on the rim. Every time he'd go up, he'd hang on the rim. In the old days, of course, I could never jump more than 4 or 5 inches because I was always a lard butt when I was a young guy. But if you hung on the rim, it would break. I mean, the old backboards used to break a lot more than they do now. This guy was amazing. Can you jump quite a ways now?
No.
Oh, you can't either? Thank God I got somebody who can't.
I just don't like to jump.
You don't like to? Well, maybe if you're going to be a good basketball player, you're going to have to learn.
Please.
That's all. You just shoot all 3-pointers, right?
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, where do you go to school?
NCCS.
Oh, you do? So because you live up here, right?
Yep.
I thought so. And what grade are you in?
10th.
How about sports for you? Do you play any sports?
Soccer.
Soccer is another great sport. Boy, have I watched soccer grow over the years. Soccer wasn't a very hot sport when I first moved up here. It was like, a lot of schools tried soccer and it didn't work. A lot of schools tried swimming in the old days and it didn't work. Even in the old days, they tried hockey and it didn't work. Lacrosse. Now all those things are picking up. Soccer is a great game.
Yeah, it is.
Especially your school, huh?
Yeah.
Easy.
Yep.
Good soccer. How long you been playing soccer?
Well, 10 or 11 years.
What position do you play?
Left wing.
You like that best, or?
Yeah. Sometimes left bench too, but it's okay.
I've played a lot of left bench in my life too. Never mind. You guys all have a great day, will you?
Yeah, you too.
What a team.
I'll try.
What a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need you for shoveling snow out there. We got special shovels just for you guys. See you later.
Sitting on a tractor.
Yeah.
Shovel.
I know how you are. See you later.
Yeah.
Just never know who you're going to meet when you come to an open house up here in the North Country. Actually, Red Jubert is from this area. I forget that because I see him at 7:30 Mass every Sunday morning, our former postmaster and present historian in the town of Plattsburgh. But you hail from up this neck of the woods, right?
Well, that's right. I went to school here from 6th grade on, and I played all the sports that they had at the time. We never had football, but we had soccer and basketball and baseball.
I don't know what year they centralized up here. Do you know when they built the new school? And what year did you graduate?
46.
It was a good year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was a good year.
We were just talking before we started to tape here about the old days and some of the old teams, and Calvin said, wait a minute, we got to get this on tape. Because we were talking about a gentleman who was and is a very good friend of yours who gave you a chance to play basketball. And
Mr. Paul Vogan, one of the greatest men I ever knew. And yes, I remember our first game down in the locker room. He says, I'm going to start Joel Chandler left forward.
Joel Chandler, there's
That's
a
right.
name, a blast from the past.
And Clarence Bushy as left guard, and Winston Narcross as right guard. And then he said, I'm going to start Gilbert Miller as center, and I'm going to start Red Jubert at right forward. That was my break, and whenever the rest of the team would go out, to rest, I'd always stay in as long as they would. And I never played JV ball, and I was fortunate in my ability to play all those years, and I have to thank him for giving me the opportunity. Because being my height, I had a sort of in one sense, a handicap, but yet I was quite fast and a pretty good eye.
Got to play harder than the other guys, that's all.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but
Those were kind of glory days for a lot of sports back in those days when every community had its own little high school, and there were some wonderful rivalries. You were just mentioning a few earlier.
oh yeah.
Some great teams around back then.
Oh, we enjoyed it very much. Probably one of the better baseball teams back in my time was Morrisonville,
Oh boy.
Also, Line Mountain always had a good ball team because they had guys go to minor leagues. Taloskis are famous for that.
Well, you know, I knew you and I both, of course, know Leo Perry very well. He's down in Florida. He's got his knees operated on, so he's about 4 inches taller and an awful lot happier these days. He's such a dear friend. He and Teresa and Bob Garrow and.
Yeah, he came over and visited us, and when we were living in Florida.
Did he?
Yeah, a good friend from high school. He's never changed from high school. They never had a gym to play ball. They'd have to play both of their games, home game and away game, at their opponents. But he was one of the most popular guys around because of his personality. Everybody looked forward to seeing him. That's
Still
the kind of guy he
still
is.
that way. He's got a harmonica band in Florida. He's one of the youngest guys in the band, and they got a couple of guys in their 90s, and they go around playing for senior citizens' home and different functions. And he even works at the ballparks down there. He's got a very youthful mind, like you do.
Well, that's
You know, our bodies get a little older, but hopefully our minds stay young.
that's right. Those are the days, and I like to reminisce once in a while because it gives me a good feeling.
Well, you played baseball, you played basketball. What else?
Soccer. Played
Did you play soccer?
Soccer,
Was
yes.
soccer big here then?
It was pretty big. They had some good ball players like in Moores. I remember Colbert Burnell. Those guys, all those guys, linemen, they were all very, very good. But I didn't enjoy soccer as much as I did baseball and basketball. Those are my favorite sports.
Now, how far would you travel back in those days to play ball?
We go as far as Peru and Line Mountain, Dannemora. Dannemora had a pretty good team. In Ellenburg, of course. We never played MAI or back in those days, MAI and PHS were the top teams, and they were in another division. But we used to always play MAI in a non-league game. The year we were champions here, MAI was champions in their league. Yeah.
Oh, so you did have a little play between the divisions.
And then we played non-league games in Montreal. We played West Hill High School and Montreal High School.
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
And you travel up to Montreal?
Yeah, we'd stay overnight. We beat West Hill High School, I remember, on a Saturday night by 1 point. The next day, we played Montreal High School in the afternoon, but they had so many athletes there, about 1,500 kids go to school. And
You mean you didn't have that many in Morse?
No, they blew us away. Yeah, they were too good for us.
But every now and again, back in those days, you would get a ball team, a basketball team or a baseball team of a few guys that were just so good, they blew away all the competition. I remember in the old Moira High School, where we had 11 in my graduating class, but every now and again they would put together a basketball team that nobody in their category could touch.
Yeah.
It's fun when you go against the big guys.
Oh yeah, they had a couple Japanese boys back then playing for them, and man, they were very good.
Now we're the pros are looking at a Chinese boy, right? Who's have some amazing talent in the world out there.
Right.
These international sports. You were telling me before the camera started about playing a game and then walking home with your sneakers. Where did you live back then?
Scioto. That's where I was born and brought up, on a farm right across from the store I once owned. A guy by the name of Norman Manette and I, we both walked home after playing Peru, and we beat them in an overtime by 1 point. And then it was snowing, and our parents didn't come to the game, so we had to walk home.
How far would that be?
Well, it's 5 miles to Scioto.
Can you imagine one of your kids, Calvin, today saying, okay, I'm going to walk home from Peru. We got to, oh no. If the ride's not there within 30 seconds, they're griping and complaining about it.
But we enjoyed it, I was tired when I got home, of course. My feet were cold from wearing sneakers,
But a lot of these people have remained your friends since 1946, and they were your friends long before that, all through school.
Oh, yeah, yes. My greatest friend, of course, is in high school, and is Bob Venn, of course. And
how could we ever talk to Red Joubert without mentioning Bob Venn, because you guys played on the same team.
That's right. And then, we grew up together, and he came from a farm like myself, and we all shared our money. One day, if he had money, he'd buy a soda down at Coveney's down here, or lunch, and the next day I would. So, oh yeah, we're best of buddies. I miss him a lot.
We're not saying you're old, Red, but soda was a nickel.
That's it. Yeah,
5 cents.
that's 5
See
cents.
the old Coke machines with the 5 cents on it.
Yeah,
Now you can't even get the door open for a nickel.
that's right. That's for sure. That's for sure.
They were good times, weren't they?
Very much so.
So you had, I forgot now, you ran a store in Scioto for how many years?
Well, 20-some years.
Did you?
Yep,
Then decided to sell a store.
that's right. And at that time, I started carrying mail the latter years. And then I chose that, well, none of the kids wanted the business, so I had a chance to sell it to a fellow from Champlain. And it happened for the best for me because,
You got into the mail business, then you were the postmaster in Morrisonville. How long?
well, in Morrisonville, 15 years, but overall with my carrying mail, and I was a custom officer for 5.5 years.
I forgot that. You and Bob Venn both
Yeah,
did that.
yeah. Matter of fact, I knew the opening, and at that time they call it the appraisement division, and I called his wife and told him to get a hold of Bob. He was in Albany. I said, "There's a job opening in our office up here." So he came up the next day, and I introduced him to Mr. Chilton. You probably remember from Russell's Point, and he hired Bob, and
The rest is history.
it's history, right?
It's good to mention his name because talk about the word icon. He certainly was an icon in this area.
Oh, yeah.
He recorded over 500 programs similar to the one we're doing right now, and his program was called What's Going On Here. And the best part of it is we're still running them, both on this cable system and a couple others throughout the North Country. So people who weren't even around when Bob Venn was in his prime can see what it was like in the old days, and that's good. He was a good guy.
Oh, the best. I miss him greatly, you know. You don't grow up with someone and spend a lot of time with them. Like, I was godparents for his son, and he was godparents he and his wife for one of my daughters, my youngest daughter. So we have a lot in common.
Now, in your retirement, you're working as a town historian. That's kind of fun?
Right. And also, if I want to keep myself occupied, I also run a backhoe and a dump truck for Lee Custom Homes.
Isn't that amazing?
Well,
I see you going by in a backhoe once in a while and waving. People say, who is that masked rider?
well, I like to fool with these levers and everything because, you know, at one time I had my own airplane and everything.
I knew that.
Yeah, I had an
You-
Aranca airplane, yeah.
Did you have it here at this airport?
Plattsburgh Airport, yeah.
You and your brother both into flying, right?
No, just myself.
Just yourself.
Well, Maynard was in model airplanes.
Oh, tell me about
He was
that.
he was very big in model airplanes. He's built 2 jet model airplanes. He used to sell them. He didn't want to sell anything because it was a hobby for him. But he's built a couple planes for doctors in New York, and he used to go in competition down there and everything. He's very, very good at it.
No, he's your youngest brother, right?
The youngest brother.
You said he's not very well these days.
No, he's not.
Sad to say.
No, he's this past winter he's in Nevada, and he's quite ill, and hopingly his wife has faith that someday he'll be able to talk again. Right now
Well, we remember him when he sang at St. John's.
that's right. He's
Wonderful
very
singing voice.
very good voice.
That's a terrible blow.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Like Bob Feinberg, you know, in
That's
his
right.
latter years, his voice box went, and the man had just such an eloquence and a manner of speaking, a great timbre in his voice, and a tremendous command of the English language.
I used to bowl with Bob Feinberg at the Elks Club. Then we'd go in tournaments together, a whole bunch of us. Yeah.
I used to bowl in the Elks Club. A lot of those years were a blur. I think I was too many screwdrivers involved.
Well, that does happen at times. Yeah.
Yeah, but people forget that those. I think we're going to do an anniversary show at the Elks Club because they're celebrating an anniversary this year. That's a marvelous building.
Oh, it is nice.
And a lot of people who drive by Cumberland Avenue in Plattsburgh are not aware that those bowling alleys are still going strong down
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
We tried to ruin them back in the old days.
Yes.
I wonder if you remember, talking about bowling, do you remember the old Nash bowling alleys in Plattsburgh?
Yes, I do. Down on
It used to be River
back
Street.
River Street, back
Now
up
it's Durkee Street.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's where people all bowled back in the old days. And when I first started bowling at the Elks Club, a lot of the old timers in their 80s and some of their 90s were still bowling. They used to tell me about some of the times down at Nash.
Right. See, I bowled with Dave Merkel one year, and we had a championship team at the Elks. Yes. Yep. Dave Merkel was a nice man.
We had a little bowling alley in Moira where I went to high school, and I try to tell my grandchildren and other people and tried to explain in my newspaper column, back in the old days they didn't have automatic pin setters. And somebody had to set those pins, and I did that all through high school, and they can't get it through their heads that you had to reach through and step on a lever, and little pins, metal pins came up through the floor, and you had to set pins.
Yeah, they had
to do it pretty fast.
That's right. I remember they had that at Nash.
Did they?
Yes, they did.
Yep. I forgot what we made, 10 cents a game maybe. I used to get hit. I used to hate when the men's league. Women were great because the ball came nice and slow and you could relax. Then there'd be men bowling 2 alleys over and a pin would come and hit you in the head and knock you silly. Those were the days.
Yes, they were.
Good days, good times. It's fun to reminisce. Have you learned a lot about the history of the town of Plattsburgh?
I'm learning it quite a bit, but especially in the town of Plattsburgh, we have several homes that historical from way back times. Yes.
Things were a lot different way back when.
Yes.
We love to talk to Addie Shields. She's one of our buddies. Every time I get in a bind looking for something, I go into Addie's office when I got 45 minutes or an hour, and we just sit and reminisce. And she is unique among all the people in the world in that I'll mention a place to her, and she'll, in her mind, take me right back to what it was like 200 years ago.
She's going to be one of the guest speakers April 21st. They're having a historical meeting up here at right across the road from here. The historical office is located here now, and she's going to be one of the guest speakers on a Saturday, April 21st.
She's a special lady. What do you think of the new offices over there?
Very nice.
We did a program there about a month ago, and I was blown away. Their meeting room and their courtroom is just absolutely beautiful. And the best part of it is, I think Jack told us it's paid for, didn't he? I think so. That's pretty amazing in this day and age.
I can remember one of their first pumpers they had was mounted on a trailer, and they'd pull it.
Come on.
Yes, that goes way back. And
I thought you were going to say they hooked it to a horse. I was going to say, come on, Red.
Hi. Jack's father was he was big in the fire department. They helped to mount it on a trailer. They had their pumper. Yes, I can remember that.
That'd be a real antique if it were around now.
Yep.
Guess what, Red? My stomach's growling. I'm going to go get a bite to eat. Thanks so much for stopping for a minute. Thanks for being a good friend, and we'll hold down our respective pews next Sunday morning.
Okay.
See you later.
I enjoyed every minute of it. Thank you.
Yeah, work our way up. Don't ever get me so close to pancakes without a fork. I don't like that idea, Phelan.
We'll get you a plate and a fork.
I haven't seen you since the youth board meeting a long time ago. What have you been doing with yourself?
I've been keeping busy.
You always do that.
I got reffing there in the wintertime, reffing wrestling and work and all kinds of stuff.
Never a dull moment, right?
No.
Goes home to sleep sometimes.
Yeah, we just got done cooking fish there up to the KC's there in Ellenburg there last Wednesday night.
I heard they had a little fish fry
Up there.
Did they do well?
We did pretty good. Could have did better, but.
Where do you get the fish for something like that?
This year they got it at the place down in Ross's Point there, that Lake Champlain Fishery or whatever it's called. No, it ain't no Chattagay stuff this year. One? That's all you want is one.
I guess he wasn't making a plate for Gordy Little. They look at me and say one, and I say, what?
What?
I can count way, way higher than that. You just so flippant. You look like you've done that before, fellas.
Oh, I've been here a while. Me and Mikey's been back here what now, Mikey? Quite a few years now.
I ask you every year when you started. Could you remember when you first did it?
Well, let's see. I started here when I worked for Jack in
1906.
79, 78.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, so you're going to do it till you get it right, huh?
I started in 78 and been helping out ever since.
Let me ask you a stupid question.
Yeah?
Whatever make I always say, how can I ask any other kind? That's the only kind I know how to ask. But you know, I think it's important every once in a while to talk about kids. And I know this has been a passion of yours for a long time. When did you start refereeing and all that stuff? I know you played sports as a kid yourself.
Well, I started helping out Larry Ross up in the wrestling program about 84, 85, and that's when I started coaching the kids wrestling, and then I got into reffing a couple years ago. I did soccer this past year, and this is my 3rd year for soccer, so I enjoy it, and I like working with the kids, and I run the park up to Shazy Lake, and we try to keep kids busy and as best as we can, you know. Today's world with all this MTV stuff and video games.
Trying to get them outside.
Oh, it's terrible, terrible. I was talking with a parent the other day, and we were talking about the little hamlet of Lime Mountain, in fact. And I remember going through there many, many, many times and seeing kids when I was a few years ago, you know, out in the streets running around, riding bikes, playing games and stuff like that. You don't see the kids doing that anymore, you know. They're in there playing them games, and that's what's, to me, that's what's going to ruin this country. Them, you know, you gotta.
Progress is wonderful, but when it takes away from kids getting together, learning those interpersonal and intersocial skills, and playing on out in the street. I mean, you know, how many games do we just pick up? I remember going camping at Coles Creek up in the St. Lawrence years ago, and my kids, they'd have 2 or 3 ball games every day.
Oh, yeah.
Every kid who was there, we got involved in the ball game. Nowadays, last couple of years, you can't even get a ball game.
No, you can't get a ball game. It's hard.
Sitting in their camp stool playing Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly, or Game Boy or whatever, you know.
Yeah, whatever.
That's what makes it hard, you know, with us on the youth board, is that we got to find stuff that the kids can, you know, keep busy at.
But the youth board is youth oriented. It's always been that way, and I suppose it always will be that way. And I hope there'll always be a place for the recreational programs in the various towns.
Well,
I think there's a big need for it.
we need to keep that focus, and you know, because recreation is a way of releasing tensions, and you know, it's a good way for kids to enjoy themselves, hopefully.
It's kind of a good recreation for people too. It's fun to do this every year, isn't it?
Oh yeah, this is great. I get my workout.
At least it's not as hot back here as it is a lot. I've come back here some years when it was about 146 back here.
Well, we had to open the window. It got so smoky. John down there was smoking us out.
He brought us cigars, huh?
Yeah, that's his. We changed his nickname from Sparky to Smokey.
I love it. Who's behind me here? Hi, how are you?
Good, how about you?
Who are you?
I'm Reg Barcombe.
Reg, good to have you here today. This is kind of fun every year.
Yes, yeah, we've been doing it now for about 4 years. I've been involved with the batter mixing, yeah. So the main thing is to try to keep it consistent, and that gives you the consistent pancakes, and that's what the client likes.
I didn't hear any complaints out there. It's a nice, good, long line waiting for people to get in. Calvin?
Keep the flippers happy, see?
Is that what life is all about? Keeping the flippers happy? Hey, thanks for being with us.
Okay, you're entirely welcome.
I wonder if I can get over here without getting sprayed. You think so?
No.
You don't think so?
Mikey ain't gonna spray it.
No, I'll try not to spray it.
How you doing, sir?
Not too bad.
What's happening today?
Oh, nothing much. Getting these pancakes there.
How come yours are rounder than his are?
Well, I guess the way it depends how we pour them.
I don't know. You guys both have about the same experience doing this, don't you?
Well, long enough. Been doing quite a few years now.
It's
I
great.
enjoy doing it. Right.
It's good. Always, I hear all the good laughter coming back here. So. I don't know if all the real good jokes stop when we come in here and bring the camera in.
Yep, they do.
He can tell you quite a few good jokes. Keeps us going all day, you know.
I don't know if he'd want to. I don't know if he'd want to admit it or not, but it looks like his grill's hotter than yours.
Well, it probably does. You know, sometimes the air cools it off. And
Oh, it does. He's always bragged about his grill being hotter than the next guy's anyway. So maybe it's a genetic thing, you know. You think so, Phelan? How are you doing over here?
That's about yo.
What are you cooking here? Hot dog? No, that's sausage, right?
Yeah.
2 different kinds of sausage. You're making me awful hungry here. How many have you cooked today so far?
Too many.
Do you guys keep track of how many pancakes you cook every year? You just keep throwing them together, huh?
I got enough hair in my head to keep track of it.
Yeah, I don't. Hey, that was a pretty good bank shot there. You guys have a wonderful day, will you? Once I start eating out there, you may have to sweat a little bit back here, but.
I would say 2,000 or 3,000 pancakes a year, maybe more.
Really? And that's just at my table.
We had 1,000 plates one year, 1,100 plates one year, so you can average 2 or 3 pancakes in a plate. So it's amazing.
This open house and customer appreciation day started at 10 this morning. I think it goes till about 7 o'clock at night. So after chores, I'm sure a few farmers will be in here to eat some of that sausage. So you can't go home until at least 8:30 tonight.
I got to be to work for 4 o'clock. So.
Big trouble. You guys have a great day, will you? See you later. I'm okay now. I had my pancakes and sausage. He can't hurt my feelings anymore today. I got fed. I'm okay. Gary, how you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
When I first came here at 10 minutes to 10, I almost turned around and went home. The wind was blowing a gale. The snow was starting to snow, and there weren't very many people around. I said, this whole day is going to be a bust. And then about 5 minutes later, they started coming in.
Yeah.
We went into the kitchen a few minutes ago, and they're throwing pancakes off the walls and the ceiling, man, trying to get it done. Yeah. Every year, it turns out great, doesn't it?
Yep. Yeah, we usually have a good turnout. A little cold today, but it's better than that wet snow we had a few days ago, so we're pretty happy.
We have covered the weather picture from the beginning to the end today, and we're not at all happy about it, but just like it always was, there's not much we can do about that part of it.
No. Them 3 days there, I mean, we moved a lot of snow to get the machinery out, and
I was thinking about that when I drove up today.
Yeah, the guys, like I say, about 3 days there, just steady moving the snow, and then everything else was frozen to the ground, so I had to pull that out and then get in the shop and put it all together. So, been a busy week.
Other years there wasn't a speck of snow on the ground when we had this.
Last year there was none. No.
I know.
It was cold, but it was no
Marked
snow.
on the shoulder of the road. If I did that today, you'd have to get a big tractor and tow my car out.
Yeah.
It is fun to have these appreciation days.
Yep.
You know, like I just watched Calvin going by. He knows almost every single person by their first name. That's the beauty of living in a town this size. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
he knows them all, young and old. He's been around. Yeah, it's good to see all the it's good to see all the people come out. We appreciate it. Just our appreciation for them supporting us, and like I say, you see a lot of different people today, and we're just glad they got out.
We even cornered the kids back there and talked about bowling and basketball and soccer and
bowling. I got bowling on the mind there right now. They put that much effort into schoolwork, they'd be all A students back there.
Can't believe that he turned out to be a heck of a bowler too.
Yeah, doing real good. Yeah, they went to the sectionals there and he did real good. Yep.
That's great. What did he say? His best series was
639 or something.
Ooh, yep. Not too shabby, right?
Almost as good as his uncle. Yeah. He's learned. Well, that's how he got it. That's where he learned from.
From you.
Not from his father, from his uncle.
So, like the rest of your family, you've been in this business almost since the beginning, huh?
Yep, it's, right from high school and right up to now. So it's been a while. Got its ups and downs, but overall, we like it.
Well, we like coming up here because we like to talk to the people, and we've heard so many compliments when the camera was off and when the camera was on about this business and about this family, which has been a part of the Moores area for a long, long time. And that's got to make you feel good to know that you did something right as a business.
Yep. It all started with my grandfather, and because my father's always worked hard, and me and my brother try to follow what he did. You know, service has been the biggest part of our business, and I think that's where we get a lot of our compliments from, is from our service. And today, you got to have that little bit extra to get to people here, so we hope to continue that way.
Red Jubert keeps walking back and forth. He's whispering, make sure you get him to sharpen that pencil. You got to watch out for him. He's a wheeler dealer. You know?
Oh, he's tough. He's tough.
He'll get you to trade even for a 40-year-old tractor if you're not careful here.
I think we did that in the last one.
Oh, that's what friends are for, Gary.
Yep.
Listen, I just want to thank you very much for all you've done for this community, you and your family, and thanks for having this Appreciation Day. It's great for us every year.
Well, we certainly appreciate you guys coming. I know a lot of people look forward to seeing the tape there, and we're just glad you guys can do it for us, and appreciate everything you did.
We're glad to do it. You have a great day and a wonderful life.
Thank you.
See you later, Gary.
Yep.
Most times you have to get a special permit and written permission to enter an important office like this. But today we just followed the sign that said Head Honcho. We walked inside.
Top Gun.
The Top Gun, yeah.
That's what my coach says.
How you doing, Jack?
Pretty good. Very good.
Thanks again for inviting us up here. We haven't talked to you in a few weeks, right? Just telling you before the cameras rolled, we had some very good comments about your project across the street there with the fire station and town hall. That's wonderful place. That you got.
Yeah, it sure is, and everybody, we've had lots of comments also, and
A lot of nice people. You got a lot of nice people working over there too.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Also, very fortunate here to have the help I have here. As you know, we've received quite a bit of snow in the last few weeks.
That's all we've been talking about since we got here. We looked outside about an hour ago and it was snowing again.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look outside and see that, but the help I have here, we can't emphasize enough the work they've done. More than people realize, most all this machinery has been put together within just this last week. And then the snow, it takes pretty near a day just to move the snow around here. Everything has been buried in snow. Some's been going at 3 o'clock in the morning until 9 at night, so they're a dedicated bunch and much appreciated, and also want to thank you again for coming up. And
We're glad to do it. Do you think Floyd would be happy with what you did here today if he were looking at you? He probably is, you know.
If you look at the picture up on the wall, he is.
Oh, yeah, he is. He started it when? What year?
53.
1953. Let me see. I guess I don't want to remember where it was in 1953. I've been to so many places I might stick my foot in my mouth here. We've interviewed young kids, and we've interviewed a lot of old-timers. Went to school in Moores. I told Calvin earlier, if all the people really lived in Moores who say they lived in Moores, it would have been an awful population explosion here about 1945. But we got Red Joubert on anyway. He graduated in 1946.
Red or is it Harold? I see.
It was Red.
Red was here too. I didn't see her. I see Harold stick
He's
his.
walking back and forth past Gary saying, "You've got to sharpen your pencil a little bit, Gary. You've got to sharpen your pencil."
Well,
Yeah, they're wheeling and dealing.
I'm sure we all sharpen our pencil.
So it's been fun. It's been fun. That's why you do this, to show to the people that you appreciate their business since 1953, right?
That's for sure. And there's been lots of changes since '53 until today, and I don't know where we're going to be from now on if they keep changing. As you can see, the machinery, the size is getting like the corn planters. They're up to 12 rows. And
Can you imagine when you were a kid, a 12-row corn planter? You'd think you were in the land of Oz or somewhere.
right, and they make them up to lots bigger than that also. But around here, a 6-row is usually the one that sells. And
You got me. When Wayne showed me a tractor that had a laptop computer hooked onto the back of it to find out what was wrong with it, that was beyond what I could understand.
that's right, and it's something like 10,000 just for us to pay for that to be able to.
Oh, it is? I didn't hear that part of it.
Oh yeah, we had
Ooh, baby.
to be able to get them tractors in. We had to have this computer, in case something goes wrong. Then Raymond, that does quite a bit of the service work. He just got back from Wisconsin to a school on them tractors, so we have to have schooling on pretty near all the machinery today that we have to send them. And that's one thing about like having an airport close by. They either got to fly out of Montreal or go to Albany, because the airfare, we get hit bad up here. Save like $600-700 by going to Albany, than flying out of Burlington.
Yeah, well, maybe it'll get better when the county airport goes out on that base. We got to put another battery in, and we're going to wrap it up from Dragoons and Moors. Well, the pancake flippers and the sausage makers will be doing their thing till 7 o'clock tonight. This program's being recorded on the 27th day of March, 2001. I guess you noticed this past week that Calvin, on his cable system up here, has been running some of the older programs. You see, the little kid, you don't look a bit different, but the little kids have changed over the last 10 or 12 years there, my friend.
And they sure have, and, enjoy watching them also, It's hard to believe they grew up as fast as they have been. It must be the wild blood they have in them.
You think maybe the air up here, the water and the milk is good up here in the Moors area? Maybe so, huh? Red Jubert was telling us about, was it your father that they were taking their pumper on the back of a wagon? Back in the old days, he remembers the first pumper they had up here at the fire station. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, well, then there used to be Ted Willette's garage down here when they had that old Model T Ford. I can remember that. Then I can also remember Howard Blair, I believe, had that bumper where you had to tow it, and then Perry Never's Fire. I remember it being there. Yeah. And also, I want to go back to, we have like Reginald Barcombe. You talk about dedicated people. He drove up from Batavia to do the mixing of the pancake mix. He enjoyed it so much. And take Rainey and Mike and the others that's been failing, I believe, is out there. I haven't seen him. But
he's out there. He was the first one we got on.
But what I mean, every year they come and they ask.
They love it. They love it. They wouldn't want to be anywhere else today.
It'd be awful hard to do without their help.
That's a lot of hard work. I said to Phelan Miner today, you're doing this till you get it right. But he get them all flipped, and they were comparing the different size pancakes to make sure they're doing a good job. It is a lot of fun, Jack. I want to thank you and your whole staff for inviting us back year after year. The pancakes are good. The people are great up in this neck of the woods, and it's a good time to be alive. Like you said, we don't know where we're going to be next year, but then again, when you come to think of it, when you get old like me, you don't know where you're going to be tomorrow. So today's the day, and we'll just make the best of it, won't we? Huh?
Well, we have no choice.
That's it.
You take like last year, take my wife, had two sisters that's not here this year.
Yeah, that happens.
And just lost, Calvin's related too, and she just lost a nephew, so enjoy it when you can.
That's right. We're going to have the best day we can today, and we thanks again for inviting us up here, Jack.
Okay, again, I also want to thank you and hope everybody contribute. I don't know if you collect any money up here this year, but I hope you do.
Calvin keeps getting there with his hand out. So far, he's got 3 chocolate milk cartons and a quarter. So he must be worth something anyway. Thanks to Jack at Dragoon's Farm Equipment, Route 11 and Moores. It's always great to be up here where the air is nice and pure. Now we go back to the big city this afternoon and see how the other half lives. And who knows where we're going to be next time for our little corner.